All right, a very special Anabolic Academy only on Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding. Of course, you got me, John Livia, Uncle John, and Big Danny Broadhurst. But today we got IFBB Pro Ryan Foster with us. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, guys?
Yeah. So Ryan's going to be joining us answering some questions that we got from Instagram. But before we get started, I have a little rant that I have to make. It really got me irritated today. And I understand that the 18-year-old kid that is at the front desk at the gym has nothing to do with it, but he got the brunt of it because he was there, right? So I go to two different gyms. I always go to one like hardcore gym, right? This is my pattern. This is my structure. I always go to one hardcore gym that's like right by my house. And then I always go to a gym where I could join like a chain gym I can go anywhere. Because my mother lives in New York. I'm in New Jersey. I work in New York. So if I go visit my mother, my mother's 88 years old. So I go visit my mother. I could always go to the gym by her. So I joined an LA Fitness. There's literally an LA Fitness around the corner from my mother's house, right? So I joined an LA Fitness, blah, blah. And then when I leave work, the closest gym over the bridge is LA Fitness. It just made sense to do that, right? Okay. So I go to the gym today. This is the one in Paramus, New Jersey, right? Okay. So we had this conversation before that I actually use Species Nutrition Fiberlize. I like it a lot because it keeps me regular. I know Danny says that it's the same as any other fiber, but for some reason, when I use that one, I just shit regular. If I use any other one, it doesn't work as well. I don't know if there's any difference, but I know that it works. So I use that one. Whatever. So I go into the and Ryan could attest to this, being a blue collar guy. I'll pretty much take a shit anywhere, right? You know, when I used to do side work, I used to leave a roll of toilet paper on my fucking back of my car. So I mean, it hits me. I go, oh shit! I'm in the bed. I'm in the locker room. I'm putting my shit away. I'm like, fuck it, hits me. I gotta take a shit. So I'm like, all right, let me go fucking do my thing. I'm in the toilet, dicking around my phone, blowing up, LA Fitness gym, and they have the big toilet paper rolls with two on each side, and there was no toilet paper.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was no fucking toilet paper. So
check the other stalls.
Christ, what's up?
Check the other stalls.
What am I gonna do? I got shit in my ass cheeks. Like, how am I gonna so I'm like, oh, fuck. So there's a guy in the stall next to me. I'm like, should I ask this guy fucking toilet paper? So I didn't. This is what I did. And my wife's like, why didn't you just use your underwear? I'm like, because then I got to work out free balling it. I don't want to work out free balling. I have this thing where I have to have underwear on, and I always have an undershirt under my shirt. I always have like a guinea tee or a wife beater, whatever you want to call it, underneath my shirt, right? At all times, at work, at home, at the gym. That's my thing. So I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? So, all right. So I flush. And then I did the most disgusting thing. See, to me, it's really not that disgusting because I work in the sewer. So this is like kind of nothing to me, right? But now I'm in public. So I make some room in between my legs. And I take the water with this hand. I take the water from the toilet, and I'm cleaning.
Holy shit!
Self-bidet.
I'm cleaning my ass. Yes, that's right. It was like a self-made bidet. I'm cleaning my asshole with my hand on the water, and then I hit the flush again, and I did it again. And I did it till there was nothing left. And now I must have washed my hands, but at least 4 times before I left to go into work out, right? So there's and I'm washing my hands and I'm doing this. Oh shit! And wash my hands again, right? And I'm like, oh shit. And the soap in there is the cheapest shit. It's like suds. When you put your hand and it's like soap suds. It's not even like the good soap that your wife buys. It smells nice and stuff. I must have washed my hands a dozen times. Like I was and the whole time I'm working out, I'm doing this. Like, can I smell it? Can I smell it? And then I'm picking up my phone because I'm putting music on. I'm like, fuck. Now I'm smelling my phone to see if my phone smells. So I'm like, fuck. So I was like, all right. So I washed my hands. So now I'm irritated to begin with. So I was doing shoulders, right? And okay, I'm doing shoulders, whatever, blah, blah. And I like using the side delt machine, where you do, one of these jobs. And I go over there and there's no pin. There's no pin in the machine. So I'm like looking around at the other machines to grab another pin. and there's no pins anywhere. None of these machines have pins. So this lady comes over to me and she goes, I see you looking for pins. They don't have any pins in the machine. I was like, why? She goes, you have to go to the front desk and you sign a pin out and bring it to the machine.
People are stealing pins.
I said, are you serious? And she goes, I swear to God. And she actually showed me her pin. She's like, I got to go return it now. So I go to the front. I go to the front and I go, I need a pin. And the girl goes, sorry, they're all out. And I'm like, and I just was like, I was like, all right. So I said, who? I said, I know it's not your fault, but who on the corporate ladder? How many people do I have to choke to get to the person that makes these decisions about that you have to take out a pin? Why can't you just put pin? She goes, well, we ordered pins. See, and this is what people don't understand between the difference between a corporate gym and a person who privately owns a gym. Person who privately owns a gym just goes on whatever, gym supply website, orders them, and it's in there in a few days. In a corporate gym, you have to fill out an email, say, we need this, it has to be approved, and so on and so forth. It's got to get it, and then they have to get it. And by the time you get anything, it's like a month later. If anybody has worked in a corporate setting, it's absolutely ridiculous. So this poor kid is like, he's like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We ordered them, but they're not in yet. And I said, well, what about toilet paper? Can you at least put fucking toilet paper in the bathrooms? He's like, why? We're out of toilet paper? I was like, yeah, don't let me get into the story, but we're out of toilet paper. All right. And this poor kid, like, he was like so nervous. Like, he was like 18 years old. And he's like, oh, I'll tell them to put toilet paper in. And I was like, I said, kid, don't worry. I know it's not you, but I mean, it was just asinine. Anyway, that was 48 hours ago. I'm still sniffing my hands. All right.
I can't do corporate gyms anymore, man.
Dude,
That's all
They don't like me and I don't like them.
That's all we have here.
They're hard. They're so bad. They're so bad. It's like, and I do it out of convenience. You know what I mean? I do it out of convenience, but they are real. They're just not, because if, it's like when it's your business, it's like your pride and joy. So if something, it's your, you know what I mean, Ryan, it's your business. It is the way you make a living. So the littlest thing that you're out, you go and run and get right away. Right. Where corporate gyms, all they give a shit is about where you sign up. Like when I signed up, they were very nice to me. Not one person has said hello to me in LA Fitness since I've signed up. They don't give a shit. As long as they make their quota of how many members they signed that month, they don't care, right? Where in a private gym, they talk to you. They feel you like it's a community. It's like a family. And if they're missing something, they fucking go and get it. Anyway, so that's
what gets me about LA Fitness is their trainers.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, well, tell me your story about the LA Fitness trainer. Then I'll tell you my story about the LA Fitness trainer.
Oh, half the time the people they're training are in better shapes than the trainers themselves.
Yeah.
Well, you only make $20.
Business being here.
You only make $20 or something. Out of the, I did the corporate gym train. I trained at Equinox because they pay you more, but they pay you like $10 more than LA Fitness. LA Fitness, you get like $20. You might as well work for minimum wage. For
some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, right? Like, okay, Ryan, you're a perfect example. If you're a painter, right? Yeah. Somebody says to you, I need you to come over and give me an estimate on this job. If you show up in a suit driving a Mercedes-Benz, and the person goes, "Where's your truck and where's your painting supplies?" You'd be like, I don't need that right now, right? And then if they say to you, "How long you been a painter for?" Be like, "Oh yeah, I just got my permit about last month. Fully qualified to paint your house. Don't worry about it. I don't have any supplies and I don't have any experience. Fully qualified.
I read the manual. I know how to do it.
Yeah, I know how to do it. But when it comes to personal training, you could literally have a 20-year-old kid who has man tits and a belly that just passed the one of the several thousand personal training permits they have out there, and nobody will go, "Hey kid, how long you been doing this?"
Bro, it's like slave labor, dude. Because this is how that job works. They schedule you for shifts to work on the floor. For those, they pay you minimum wage. but you have to do like 2 a day. So they'll schedule you for a shift where you have to work on the floor from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then they'll do you another one 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So, and they don't pay you for the time in between.
Get the fuck out. That's just
I swear to God.
ridiculous. That's just
So
ridiculous.
no one will take that job.
Yeah, I don't
So,
blame them.
yeah. Yeah. It's
I know.
horrible.
And I'll tell this one quick story, then we'll get into the questions, right? Because I want Ryan's input on these questions. But anyway, this kid, when I first started working out there, like a week in, there's one guy who was breaking my balls the whole time to get a person to get a trainer, right? And first of all, it's like, all right, I know I work out in a hoodie, and I know I'm not as big as you animals, but you could tell that I pretty much know what I'm doing at this point, right? So, but they don't care. So the kid asked me coming in. I said, "Nah, I'm good." The kid asked me while I'm working out. He goes, "If you need, if you want, we're offering a free this and that." I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And finally on the way out, I said, "All right, kid, listen. You answer my one question. If you answer my one question, I'll sign up for personal training right now." He goes, "All right, go ahead." I said, "What's the difference between whey protein and whey protein isolate?" Dead silence. And I went, "Why would I know more than you? Why would I use you to train me?"
Harsh.
Yeah. Well,
The kid's just trying to hit his fucking quota, man. He's got a certain number of free sessions he's got to give. He's trying to hit his quota.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
crushes his dreams.
Yeah, well, you
But
should be able
shit's
to judge your person that you're pitching to, right? You should,
Yeah,
I sometimes I've got clients and they're like, "Do you have your personal training certification?" I'm like, at this point, you don't think my work
train people in person.
itself? I'm like, yeah, I got my personal
Oh,
training certification.
God.
yeah.
Fucking 10 years ago. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think I'm 5'9" and 270 and IFBB pro. You don't think I'm qualified to train you, lady, who's a housewife, just gave birth and needs to lose 30 pounds. You don't think so? No. Okay, never mind. All right. Let's get started with that. Anabolic Academy. Okay. This first question is pretty cool. This comes from MCETTA 241. Maketa 241 on Instagram. I'm going to give this one to Ryan, and then obviously, Danny, you could bounce off of it. Have you heard of anyone using oral Primo? If so, why use orals over injections?
I have not heard of anyone using oral Primo.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much input on that. I don't see much of a benefit if you can get real Primo injectable. I don't see what the upside would be of an oral form of that.
Yeah,
Danny?
I think. Yeah, Danny.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just for women. It's the Primo acetate is the oral, I think. And I think it comes in like 10 milligram tablets. So benefit would be, a woman could take it and take less. But
yeah, I think what's happening is a lot
I've
of people
never
think,
I've never seen a man take oral Primo.
I've never even seen a guy take regular Primo. I'm like, I think what's happening is, generally speaking, people think that just taking an oral tablet is just more convenient. And they would rather take a pill than an injection because it's just more convenient, right? Well, first of all, I haven't seen Primo tabs in years. I mean, years. I've never seen Primo tabs in years. And the other thing is, Primo itself, you have to be careful with because it's so counterfeited. And Danny could attest to that. It's so counterfeited that I just would stay away from it completely. And if it's not extremely expensive, it's probably fake or severely underdosed to begin with. So, go ahead, Danny. Why don't you give your take on it?
Yeah, no, I agree with Ryan. I think Primobolan, like for raw 10 grams of raw Primobolan, it's like I think it's around $600.
Wow.
Yeah, or is it? Yeah, 380. I can't remember. So it's I think it's 600, or 400 at least for 10 grams, and 10 grams of raw test is like $19.
Wow, really?
So I mean, obviously most people are gonna. We tested like 6 different Primobolans and only one of them was real, and it was
Wow.
$120 for a bottle. So I'm sure. Yeah, you're probably getting like Anavar or something.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan. What were we gonna say?
I was gonna say what would be the main compound that they counterfeit it with?
Well, test, but I don't know about the oral. The oral, probably Anavar.
I would say D-ball. Right? D-ball is usually very inexpensive because they usually counterfeit Anabol with D-ball.
Yeah, but if you're trying to imitate a Primobolan.
Well, regular people don't get it. They just take, Anavol. They think it's D-ball and they go, wow, it's really working. It's great. Yeah, using D-ball. Of course it's working. And they think they're actually getting what they want. So things like, I always say like things like, I mean, we have our finger on the pulse, right? Because we have this YouTube channel and I have to, and you guys are in that world. But for people who don't know, stay away from things that are counterfeited regularly, like Primo or Anavar or things like that. There's other options, and plus there's test kits. You could buy a test kit and actually test them. I mean, it's never going to tell you what the potency is, but it will tell you if what you have is the actual compound that you bought.
They have some semi-quantitative ones now too.
Oh, do they really? Because the last one I bought was the one on from Dave Palumbo. Is the Palumbo?
He sells semi-quantitative ones. I don't know
Oh,
if
does
it's
it?
Primo, but I know he sells it for test.
Yeah. So before you waste your money, I would suggest that you buy one of those test kits. It's like $150, $120, something like that. It's really easy. It gives you a chart with different colors, all the different compounds. You put the compound in, you add whatever solution tells you to add. And if it comes out to that color, you look at the chart and you can see that it is what it is. It's really easy to use. And I suggest that if anybody is interested in using any kind of anabolics, they buy that first so they know what they're getting is real and not get screwed. But anyway.
A side note to that.
Go ahead.
If you find a source on Instagram with a fake IFBB Pro profile picture,
It's some guy in
it's
Africa.
probably not real. Because I've got so many people messaging me. They're like, "Hey man, remember me?" I was like, "No, who the fuck are you?" He's like, "You scammed me out my money for my gear." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he sent me the profile. I'm like, "That's not me, bro."
Oh my God, really?
Those fake accounts where they'll take, I feel like they take like top amateurs or like real rookie pros that people might not recognize. Dude, he's got like 50 of my pictures, all the captions word. And what's funny is I've reported it and I've had tons of people report
send that to you?
It's denied every time.
I think
They're like, "There's nothing wrong with this."
Yeah, I think I sent it to you, and I was like,
"Oh, you probably sent." I've got a ton lately. You've probably got some with your pictures, Danny.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're floating around out there.
Oh, Danny, you know what I wanted to ask you? You know that video you did with Milos?
Yep.
Where you were doing leg day? Did you put that up or did Milos put that up?
I put it up. I think he put it up too. Yeah.
Would you be okay with me? If you say no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And I could edit this out if you say no. Would you be okay with me taking that video and putting it on my channel and saying, basically Danny Broadhurst trains with Milos and on leg day or something like that?
Yeah, that's fine.
You don't care?
No, okay.
You're not going to come back and copyright claim and try to sue me or anything?
Oh, man.
Oh, all right. Good. All right. All right. Next question. This is from Thomas Andrew, 1964, on Instagram. How often and what gear is run during off season? I guess that's a general question. Like, what's the most popular gear to run during off season? I mean, when I was competing, I'll give you mine, but why don't you guys give yours? And only if you're comfortable doing that, Ryan.
Yeah, that's fine. Dan, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everything you run pre-contest, you could run off season, and just I would say there's probably going to be more Decker, Nangelones, more EQ, more stuff like that, as opposed to the trinacetate and mass propionate. But I don't know. I mean, I usually mix a lot of different things, so you throw EQ, Mastrone, Test, T-ball, and Trenny in the mix, and just throw each one in at a lower dose to keep the test dose high, something like that. But pretty much the same things will be in there at different times, but you're going to see more, obviously, stuff that's going to hold water. Some more EQ, more T-ball, Anadrol. stuff like that.
Yeah, Ryan, you want to jump on that?
Yeah, I think the only thing is, for the most part, it's like staying away from. I got a call coming in. Motherfucker. Okay. It's just like I don't really use orals in the off season. I don't think it's a really good idea, especially for hard gainers, people that have a hard time eating. It ruins your appetite. And yeah, you put on 20 pounds of water weight real fast with a bunch of anadrols, but it's not going to correlate, and you're going to have really bad liver toxicity and feel sick and nauseous towards the end. So I say save your orals and more harsh compounds for just prep. Off season, you're using food and training to grow primarily. You just need, I think, a nice test base, and then kind of hop around on your compounds you stack with that based off your blood work or what works or doesn't work for you. Some people, certain compounds just sit well with them. Some people have really bad reactions to tren, whether it's off season or on prep. I've heard people with like nandrolones and stuff like that getting anxiety. So if you're more,
That too.
if you're more prone to things like that, staying away from compounds that like tren across the blood-brain barrier, and I'd say just keep your growth hormone high. Make sure that your blood sugar stays down, watching your insulin intake and all that, and then just a nice test base with some other injectable. I don't ever use orals in the off season since I knew I've been working with my latest coach, because we know that my digestion has been like such a big issue with all these compounds, and I do get anxiety with certain things. So pretty much have to stay away from tren. It gives me all sorts of issues. So I just run my test base up to like 750 to a gram, and always start low and then ramp it up towards the end of your cycle. Take some time off and just cruise.
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
That's a really good point about the orals. I didn't think of that. You in pre-contest, you're taking like 3 or 4 different orals, and off season it's maybe one.
Yeah, well, and the anti-E's too. You're not going to be needing as many of those. Maybe just one in the off season, just to keep things under control.
Well, with me, I mean, I was never on your guys' level, but my favorite off-season cycle was always some kind of test, usually sus, DECA, and a D-ball, and all the the effects of orals seem to always be dose related to me. Like if I did 50 milligrams of D-ball, 50 milligrams of Anadrol, I really didn't get the nauseous feeling or lose my appetite. Once I upped it to like 100, that's when it would really start affecting me, where I feel nauseous, I wouldn't want to eat, and so on and so forth. I mean, I think it's probably an individual thing, but what do you think, Danny? Because is it dose related, or is that just an individual thing?
I think it definitely is dose related, but I mean, as far as Anadrol, I've heard of people not having it bother them at all, and then some people it just kills their appetite.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned this on here a million times, but the recommended dose for Anadrol for children is 5 milligrams per kilo. So that would give like Ryan like what 620 milligrams or something probably a day. So not saying that you should take that, but I've heard of guys taking 300-400 milligrams of Anadrol and not affecting them, and then I've heard guys taking 100 and having it jack them up. So for me, it kind of messes my appetite too.
Yeah,
so
I think everybody. Yeah, I totally agree. I think everybody's a little bit different, and I think you kind of have to figure out what works best for you. And unfortunately, the only way to really do that is to, use different compounds and see which works, which doesn't. And right now at my age, I really don't use. I use test and growth. That's it. It's 47. I don't compete. I was never on your guys' level. There was no reason for me, and I get great results from it. I'm not looking to get any bigger or anything like that. But when I was competing, and obviously not at your guys' level, at an NPC level, I always kind of have to figure it out. Somebody would recommend this, somebody would recommend that, and I always got better results from D-ball as opposed to Anadrol. And I always got better results from DECA as opposed to EQ. And I would talk to guys that absolutely loved EQ, like loved it, and loved Anadrol. And I would never get the same reaction from it. Excuse me. Sorry. I would always get guys that would love Cypionate, and I would always prefer Sustanon over Cypionate. And I know people say test is test, but you know, as an individual, like I know my reactions. And the Tyranobol, I always got probably the greatest results as far as any oral, but it would be more like hard vascular lean gains as opposed to when I would take D-ball. Is that an individual thing, the T-ball versus D-ball, or is that something that is basically a generalization?
I'll let Ryan go.
Danny.
I've never tried T-ball.
Oh.
I never really messed with D-ball either, honestly. Like I've only used Anavar and Anadrol, really.
Okay.
Oh, T-ball's the best. Yeah, so T-ball is the only steroid that was made for athletic performance. So yeah, it's definitely a lot drier than D-ball. I can't take Dynabol. It fucks with my lower back, and I can't squat, and I can't train legs with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Tyranobol is much drier, and yeah, I think it's just like a happy medium between Anadrol and Dynabol. Like
Yeah.
it's like probably you even get less. Anadrol doesn't aromatize on paper, but you still get some water retention. But I think T-ball would be even a little bit more dry than Anadrol.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
love it.
so yeah, me too. T-ball, I absolutely love. So basically, what I would recommend for people is there is no one particular cycle that everybody uses. You kind of have to figure it out. Obviously, testosterone is going to be a base, and you're going to need an anabolic, but you just got to figure out what works best for you during the off season as opposed to the pre-contest. But all right, next question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say, it just minimize your variables when you're learning these things, basically. So if you don't know how you feel on EQ, don't take EQ and Anavar and whatever the fuck else with it. Just run your test, see how you feel, and now your levels are stable. Throw in EQ and evaluate.
Yeah.
Get your blood work done, see how everything works. Okay, now you know EQ sits well with you before you try stacking it with something else. But I feel like a lot of times people will be like, I'm gonna take this, this, and this.
Agreed.
And kind of screwing yourself because you don't know what's working.
Yeah.
So start basic, minimize the variables. That's if you're, just getting started, so you know what works well.
And these underground labs make these compounds that are they're taking compounds and putting several compounds into one. There's been like test probe with Tren in a compound bottle as well. And so what I'm saying is stick to one compound to see how you feel each one. Just like Ryan said, don't try to reinvent the wheel because everybody reacts differently to different compounds. But all right, so next question. Okay, 15-year-old kid in high school wants to start working out. How do you get him to start? What would you recommend his workout actually be when you start 15-year-old high school kid? Get it, Ryan. You could take it.
All right. Man, I'd say start with your basics: squat, bench, deadlift. Master those compound movements. Don't worry so much about is your lower thoracic, lumbar equally aligned. Like, just get in there, start moving some weight. I like when I started, I was doing just like a bro split. Every body part once a week, but make sure there was one main compound per body part. Pretty much, shoulders, it was military press, then bench press for chest. Back day was deadlift, squats on leg day. Master those, build your base, get strong, and then start worrying about more isolation stuff. I think you should still focus on that so you can learn how to contract your pecs by themselves without, using your triceps and your shoulders so much. But I think very, very early on, just getting those compounds in, executing them well, and then working your way up to more isolation type stuff.
What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I started with a bro split. That's how I learned. I mean, I guess it probably depends what they're getting into the gym like for. Like if they're just trying to stay in shape. I
Mhm.
mean, like, the studies on training are, you're supposed to start someone with full body 3 days a week. That's like the easiest way to get results. Like, and that's what all the literature says on that. But
Mhm.
like if you're getting into bodybuilding, then I would start them off with probably a bro split with the compounds, like Ryan said.
I would always recommend if a young kid starts out, because it's 3 days a week. Because I've noticed that with young kids, their attention is short. So if you throw them in there 5 days a week, they kind of lose interest. So I've always recommended, if I see a young kid, the push pull legs, because you go 3 days a week and you look forward to going on the days that you're not there. So Monday push and Wednesday and Friday, that kind of thing, and see how you feel inside of a month to 2 months. And if you really like it and you enjoy it, then I would change it to some kind of a bro split or whatnot. That's what I've always recommended, just to get you in there and see exactly, get your feet wet and see if you really like it. It's not for weight training is not for everybody. It really isn't. It's everybody thinks that, oh, I go to the gym, I want to get in shape, and then you hear half the people going, I hate going to the gym. Well, maybe that kind of exercise isn't for you. Maybe you need to do some kind of MMA or CrossFit, or I don't know, anything to stay active and physical. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bodybuilding regimen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I got one more question. Okay. Why do novice girls avoid weight training or heavy weight training?
I can't speak for the women. I don't know. What you think, Danny?
I mean, they think they're going to get too muscular, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, they think they're going to get muscular. So anytime I speak to a girl who's novice, who's working out, and they ask me, they'll pick my brain. This doesn't happen too often, actually. Only the girls that kind of really want to get in shape, they'll pick my brain. And I'll say, when you go into the gym, and they're like, oh, I take the classes and I use the machines and blah, blah, blah. And I said, when you go into the gym and you go into the classes, is anybody really in shape? And when I say in shape, do you look at any of those girls in the Zumba classes and go, wow, that girl looks amazing? And more times than not, they'll say no. And I was like, well, which girl do you look at in the gym and go, that girl looks amazing? And they'll be like, well, the one's lifting weights. I was like, well, that's your answer. I mean, Danny could speak to this better, so I'm going to let Danny take this. But obviously, our hormonal balance is different between men and women. So when women work out, they tend to get leaner and harder and tighter as opposed to men. So why don't you take it from there, Danny?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, hormones are different. They, women are going to have more estrogen, but actually, believe it or not, women have more testosterone than they do estrogen. That's
really?
Yeah. They actually have a little bit more testosterone than they do estrogen, but guys have a lot more testosterone than they do estrogen. So, yeah, I mean, the girls that they think they're going to look like when they lift weights are on drugs, So,
yeah,
that's kind of what you have to reinforce. Like, no, that, you're not going to get too muscular unless you, for the most part. Some girls have crazy genetics where they do.
Yeah, some girls are freaks of nature, obviously, but few
yeah,
and far between.
you would already know that.
Yeah.
So
right.
the bottom line is, yeah, that you shouldn't be afraid to get big, because the only way that you're going to get too big is if you take drugs, and you're probably not going to do that.
Yeah. I love all the girls that go into the gym and just do glutes like every day. Like every day is glute day. I got no problem with a big ass. Don't get me wrong, but every day is glute day. I mean, it kind of
maybe 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, it's plenty. Yeah. Or the girls that actually go get like a Brazilian butt lift and then they start doing glute day. It's like, why would you didn't get it that way from working out? So you might as well just, I don't know, post pictures on Instagram and go home. What the fuck is the point? I don't know.
What's crazy about that though is like, apparently, like, there's some level of fat transfer that when you transfer fat, because the fat cells don't, I'm sure you all know this, but the fat cells don't disappear, they just shrink. So when you have like a surgery transferring it somewhere, then like you get fat and then you'll get a fatter ass. Like if you've had the fat cells transferred to your ass.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. The fat start like you know how genetically you have places because they take it from places where you have more fat and they put in your ass. So
Yeah.
so then the area that you get fat in gross. So basically, if you have a Brazilian butt lift, you just stay at home and you eat shit, and then you get even fatter ass.
Yeah, I don't mind a big ass, but does it really have to look like a park bench? I mean, I mean, I don't. Maybe you should rethink these things. I don't know. Whatever. What do I know? Anyway, well, that's going to conclude Anabolic Academy. I don't know which one it was, which one this is. It's like somewhere in the teens at this point. All right, Danny. I appreciate it again, man, and I'll see you on Wednesday. And
Hi, Ryan.
and then Ryan's going to be with us on Wednesday too.
Cool. Awesome. I'll see you guys Wednesday.
Later.
Dude.